Hey, good
Morning.
morning, everybody.
Hmm. Good stuff.
Welcome to One Life at a Time Ministries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy morning to you. It's Thursday morning,
Thursday.
the 17th of November. Thanksgiving's
Turkey
around the
day,
corner,
turkey day,
guys.
turkey
Y'all
day.
ready for turkey?
Actually, I'm ready for ham.
Yeah.
I'm more of a ham person. I like turkey sandwiches.
That's right. That's right. Okay, guys. Morning announcements. Don't forget to join our Facebook family. Also, don't forget to do this. Yeah, like and share. Like and share. All right.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell if you're on YouTube. Subscribe. Hey, we got subscribers. You know, it's interesting because we have like so much time. You get to see these analytics, and like people are watching our YouTube videos for like hours of YouTube. Yeah, it's not just the 3-minute or
so they're like binging the YouTube.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of long views.
Good job,
which is
YouTube.
Really good. So. We don't have a lot of subscribers, so
maybe that's because you can throw it on the screen, with the YouTube.
Yeah. So if you find us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications too, guys. So
that's the technical
stuff. If we get enough people, subscribing on YouTube, hey, there's always you can monetize. I don't know what that is, but we'll have to figure that out. All right.
Does that mean we'd be like endorsing communion crackers?
I don't know.
We don't use crackers.
Eat Johnny communion crackers, and we'll tell you, brother.
Woo! Okay. Yeah. Sorry, y'all.
No.
We were kidding.
Also, if you want to support us in our live stream, guys, One Life at a Time Ministries .churchcenter.com/giving. This is the way to support us on that, guys.
Yep.
I do want to work on us getting a PayPal because I think people trust PayPal more. This is done through Stripe, which is also a trustworthy service. A lot of websites use Stripe, so
people think they're fishy.
But people more
familiar
are more familiar with PayPal, and they have proven themselves. But
I'm a read.
Yeah. So we're in 1 Corinthians chapter 9.
Yeah.
So
I'm a read, and you can break it down.
No. I'm reading. We gonna do this together.
Okay, there's yours. Okay,
I get the little one.
Well, you got the Amplified. It got more words.
Well, okay.
I mean, do you want? You want me to read out the Amplified? What you want?
Here,
give me that.
Give me that.
I read the Amplified. Here we go.
All right.
And again, y'all, listen. Paul is being Paul.
Paul's up.
That's all I got to say. Just brace yourself. Buckle up.
Chapter 9 should be titled "Paul's Had Enough." Okay.
Up to here. Okay.
He's had it up to here.
If you thought in any of the previous chapters that we have hit the limit, think again, my friend.
I think that's why, like on chapter 9, we're here, and then chapter 13, he circles back around.
Let's talk about love.
We need to talk about love. Hold on.
Maybe. Okay, here we go. 9, and this is the Amplified Classic. So if deal through with the words. Okay. Am I not an apostle? A special messenger? Am I not free, unrestrained, and exempt from any obligation? Have I not seen Jesus, our Lord? Are you yourselves not the product and proof of my workmanship in the Lord? Okay.
Paul's telling him, hey, evidently there's been some challenge to Paul and what he's doing.
To his authority, yeah.
And I'm assuming, when we go back to chapter 8, to yesterday's reading, that we understand why he's touching on this, right?
Yeah.
So
he was talking about preferring your brethren.
Yeah.
To that one.
Yeah.
Look, but the whole way through, Paul was having to almost defend his authority.
Yeah.
I mean, and that happens in life. I mean, there's always going to be somebody. There's always going to be a Korah.
There's always going to be people to question.
Yeah.
Do I really have to listen to that one? Because I mean, let's be honest. When you put yourself under a pastor, that's exactly what you're doing. You're submitting to that instruction.
Yeah.
You're submitting to that pastor's vision.
Exactly.
It's not like in America you vote somebody in. No, God calls you to a place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see, in America, we have a bad idea of a kingdom dynamic.
Yeah. vote pastors
we
out.
We vote pastors in and out, and that
was never it.
Everybody is a Monday morning theologian, I like to call it. And there are so many tools out there, and thank God that we have all the ability to learn.
You can legitimately learn. Yeah.
But there has to be an understanding of the order that God has put in place, and a willingness to submit to the authority that God has put in your life.
Absolutely.
And that does include a pastor.
Exactly.
And if you can't submit to that, to a person that you can see willingly,
how? Yeah.
Not being forced, because come on,
nobody
can force you or coerce you into.
Nobody's gonna stick you in the corner and take your stickers.
A church or a pastor.
We can't stick you in the corner and take your stickers.
No, but
whatever.
But being able to recognize, okay, I'm gonna do this. Yeah. Out of just, I'm willing and obedient to be obedient to God.
Yes.
And so, thereby, He put you as my pastor. And so when we're in a pastor role, I'm going to submit to that authority.
The roles kind of shift a little bit.
It's a little bit, a lot of people say, well, a husband can't have a wife. Let me tell you something. If you're so small-minded that you can't adjust roles between church and home and things like that, then I'm sorry that it's like that for you.
Yeah.
But my wife is anointed, and God has anointed her to be the pastor. Yeah. Whether I'm not going to argue any of this other stuff with you, because I know it. I've seen it. We've seen it in the Bible. We got 3 videos on there talking about women in ministry. We'll go through that another time.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, again, it's going through the process of saying, okay, this person is my pastor. Mindy, when your daddy passed away, and we were going through all that stuff, I'll never forget how many people came up to me, and they said, oh, we got to do this with the church, and we got to do that with the church, and we got to, and we're going to build the building, and we're going to do this. And I said, okay. I said, well, now you need to go tell everything that you just told me to Mindy. I said, because Mindy's your pastor now.
Yeah.
Not me.
I didn't get many of those conversations.
How many of them, I don't think any of them came to Mindy.
No, not one. Not one.
Not one of them came to you and said, hey, Mindy, I was just telling Matt. You know why?
Because I wasn't their pastor. Let's be real.
But
they didn't choose me. There's a whole process of the choosing, and I understand that.
It was just the same thing. You have to make God, God chooses you, but in the same instance, you have to choose God as your Lord.
That's right.
He's not just your Savior, but your Lord. Yeah. It's the same thing in a church. Yeah. You may be going to a church out there that the pastor's got a vision for that church. Are you coming in line with the pastor's vision for that church? Are you standing against him or her?
Yeah. Because
that's the person God's put in your life in an authoritative situation.
There you go.
What are you going to do with that, guys? This is and y'all look. Paul's in here ranting.
Well, I wouldn't say he's ranting, but he is. He's laying his cards on the table. Because he wasn't just a pastor; he was an apostle, top tier. He was the CEO of this network of churches, if you will.
Yeah.
He owned all the franchises here.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
2, even if I'm not considered an apostle, a special messenger by others, at least I am one to you. For you are the seal, the certificate, the living evidence of my apostleship in the Lord, confirming and authenticating it.
Yeah.
The fact that you exist proves I am what I am.
Okay.
Right?
My defense to those who examine me is this. Do we not have a right? I love this. Do we not have a right to eat and drink?
Yeah.
You know what this makes me think of, Mindy?
Can I add one little phrase from the Amplified?
Yeah.
At the expense of the churches.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because everybody's gonna say, yes, Paul, you need to eat, you need to drink.
Yeah.
But you don't know. He ain't saying buy my own bill.
Those things cost money, guys. I mean, and the world loves to point at pastors, loves to point at evangelists, loves to point at church people, and make out that they should not be prospering whatsoever at all because of the work. Let me tell you something. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a pastor that's been blessed to the point where he is successful.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't have a problem with a CEO being successful, if you don't have a problem with a Hollywood mogul or a superstar being successful, if you don't have a problem with Barack Obama being successful and being, a sudden millionaire, or if you don't have a problem with who?
Well, I was going to say, if you don't have a problem with you getting that holiday pay and that overtime or that on-call money or whatever your wage is, because let's be real, we all have a mark that we say, I'm not working below this one.
Then let's ask a question.
In the workforce.
Now let's ask a question. Then why are we upset because a pastor's got a mansion?
Yeah.
Or drives a Rolls Royce or...
why? Anything, shouldn't that be a credit to the congregation? Man, look at them.
Why are you upset over that? Why are you upset? Well, they got it unjust. They did it. Let me tell you something. You don't know. You don't necessarily know. That's beside the point. If they're not doing right, let me tell you something. That they'll have a price to pay.
For all y'all that think, oh, well, all you do is sit up behind the pulpit or you sit behind this camera every morning and you drink coffee and you just la-di-da-di-da. Yeah. I'll never forget, this was my first, I've been exposed to ministry. I've been in ministry for 20 plus years. So some of this was not really a surprise. The quickness in some of it, however, was, but that's another story. That's another story. I ended up having to go to the chiropractor not long after becoming a pastor.
Yeah.
And, usually it has occupation, on the thing. And it's like, I'm a homeschool mom. That's what I've always put, that's my job. But it's like, oh, wait, I'm a pastor. So I wrote that down. And when I did, that chiropractor came in and it was like machine gun fire questions on how well I was taking care of myself, because he sees all these pastors who come in who are dead. And it's like,
it was weird.
It was weird.
Yeah, but of course,
that was the norm according to this chiropractor, what he saw.
The roles had changed and we had a lot of stuff going on. And man. Thank God for that for Dr. O'Berry.
The point in all of that was it's a lot more than sitting behind the camera and sipping coffee.
I look here. I've been
so you know,
out till 3 a.m. ministering deliverance to somebody. 3 in the
It was 4.
4 in the morning, whatever.
It was 4.
It's been more than once. I've been,
got up the next day.
I've got home from working a 9 to 5.
Yep.
And somebody called me and say, Matt, we got to go and drive 2 hours to go minister to somebody. I've ministered in the gutters. I've ministered in the mansions. I've ministered all over the place.
Yeah.
And you're just on call.
You drive 5 hours one way. You just do it.
You do what you got to do.
And you minister and drive 5 hours back. I mean, it's what you do. It's a calling. We don't do it for the money. So don't get that perspective shifted. We're not coming at you from the angle that the pastor wants the money. What we're wanting you to understand, what we're wanting you to maybe open your mind to the possibility of is, why is there this problem with a pastor earning his wage?
Now, I'll never forget, we were in Walmart.
Does that make sense?
We were in Walmart one day, and this man started talking to your daddy, and your daddy was talking to him about being a pastor of church, little church. And the man said, let me tell you something. We treat our pastor so good. We just voted, and and we voted. We started giving our pastor.
He was driving like crazy.
This guy was driving all the way down from Atlanta, which is about a 5-6 hour drive from one way
every week
from where we live.
Every week,
and he was doing this every week, and the church was so proud of themselves because they had decided to pay the pastor
No,
it was like some ridiculous. It was like $20-$30. Okay, wow. A service, and your daddy
and he just puts it back
in the offering plate. It back in the offering plate. He's such a good man, and your daddy looked at him and he said, I would be ashamed to tell somebody that. And he said he's putting it back in the offering plate because $20 isn't doing anything for him. What's it gonna do for him? It's not buying his gas.
It won't even pay to fill your car up now.
So bless their hearts. That they didn't understand that number one, when you give to a church, when you give to a ministry, when you give to a pastor, to a minister, to an evangelist, to a teacher, you are giving to the Lord.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, let's
I give, so it's given unto me, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give unto my bosom.
This is not how the pastor equates things. But since we're going into the logic of why they shouldn't have this or that or the other, let's break it down into the monetary workforce mindset. So this man was essentially pulling a 12-hour shift for $30. Now, if you would be...
Well, not even $30 because he's taking that money and putting it back.
Okay. Well, this was the proposed job. So imagine going into a job interview and them saying you're going to be expected to work 12-hour shifts, but all we're going to give you for that 12-hour shift is $30. The pay is not negotiable. What would you respond to that job?
Health, no vision,
no insurance, nothing like that. No 401k, no retirement, no burial, no nothing like that. And we can probably get rid of you whenever we want because you're completely disposable. How many of you would say, yes, please sign me up? If you would have a come apart about that, then we need to understand. We need to change the way we're thinking. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying that the pastor's heart is to say, well, I need to make 6 figures, because that's not where the pastor's heart is. The pastor is going to pastor regardless of things. Right. It's up to the congregation to change these things.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's wrong for a pastor to put that out
congregation got to grow up.
Okay. We love y'all with the love of Jesus.
You got to grow up. All right.
We need to move on, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Where are we at?
We're over 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
So we're in
and we got a lot to go.
Let's see. So, verse 5, do we not have a right to take along a believing wife, even as the rest of the apostles and the brothers of the Lord and Cephas or Peter?
Yeah, because see, at this point, Paul was a single man, so they probably were thinking, well, he's single, whatever. Yeah. We ain't got to take care of him.
Or do only Barnabas and I have a right to refrain from working?
Ooh. Okay, here. Let me do that in the Amplified.
Okay.
Or is it only Barnabas and I who have no right to refrain from doing manual labor for a livelihood in order to go about the work of the ministry? Yeah. So to pay for our ability to come minister to you and take care of all your little problems.
Yeah. Because you got to understand, they're sitting there doing their manual labor, working to earn enough to eat and drink, and then at the same time having to deal, because when you have a church, you are dealing with things. You are dealing with problems that people are coming up to you with. You're dealing with personal ministry and teaching, and it takes time, and you have to study, and there's things like that have to happen.
So we know of a church at Corinth that Paul was over. We know of a church in Rome that Paul was over. We know of Crete that Paul was over. So it's not just that he's dealing with this one group.
He's dealing with a lot.
He's dealing with all their groups, but they still expect him
to
work that 9 to 5 to pay for his needs while he's looking after their eternal needs.
What you find out is that there were other churches that are flipping his bill so that he can go do the work that God's called him to do.
But Corinth is being lazy.
So verse 7 says, "Who?" I'm going to read out of the New American Standard. Okay. Actually,
whatever.
Let's go back to the.
What you want?
Let's go to the King James.
Okay.
It says, "Who goeth a warfare any time at his own charges? Who goes to war at his own expense?
Yeah.
Who planteth a vineyard and eateth not the fruit of it? Or who feedeth the flock and eateth not of the milk of the flock?"
Yeah.
That's the same thing that we just got off our little soapbox talking about.
Yeah. So it's not unreasonable.
Who of y'all goes to work and doesn't pull in a
paycheck?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Say I these things as a man, or saith not the law also the same also?
Hey, listen, am I talking this out of man's authority or how God set it up?
Yeah.
Because the law endorses the same thing.
Yeah.
God set the law up, so let's see what it says.
So, for it is written in the law of Moses, "Thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn."
You let him eat.
Doth God take care of the oxen? I see us going back into like a situation like the Sabbath was with the apostles when they picked a husk of corn or an ear of corn to eat, and the Pharisees and Sadducees got onto them because they were doing it on the Sabbath. That's working, but they were eating. Now, Jesus was having to tell them, the Sabbath is not made for you. You're not made for the Sabbath. The Sabbath is made for you.
Yeah.
For you to go and be able to rest. Not to be able to be forced into doing absolutely nothing, so that you have to, so that you can't eat and you have to starve all day.
I love how in the Amplified it's just drawing out that deep theological thinking. Is it only for oxen that God cares? Does He only care about oxen? Is that all He cares about?
Is that all God cares about is oxen?
Is it? He just cares for the moo cows, not me.
Or saith He it altogether for our sakes? For our sakes, no doubt, this is written, that he that ploweth should plow in hope, and that he that thresheth in hope should be partaker of his hope. If we have sown unto you spiritual things,
yes,
is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things?
If you want this in layman's term, is it too much if we reap from you material benefits? Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, everybody loves to talk about Kenneth Copeland and his jets.
And his jet, but
and his mansions and things like that.
What happened with that jet?
But I'm curious to know how many people that he's given to.
Where was it?
Nobody's talking about that.
Where was it in the Middle East?
I'm curious to know how much time that he's sent his jet. How much it cost him to send his jet over to the Middle East to take these people out of where was it? Afghanistan, right? Where
Americans out,
right?
Because they got left there.
Or
I'm just going to leave it that way. And the history.
Yeah.
Nobody was complaining about his jet at that moment, but if he didn't have a jet, those Americans wouldn't be home right now.
The point is that they didn't just get blessed with that stuff by being bad stewards of what God has done, y'all. They didn't just get the mansion by being
a pyramid scheme.
A pyramid scheme. No, they at some level they had to have accountability.
Yes. Yeah.
And number two, if you got a successful ministry, you got things happening and moving, and people are seeing it. But nobody ever considers that. Oh, it's just they got a mansion, they got a jet, they got this.
How they get that?
Well, hey, I've seen churches where I grow up. They spend over a couple of $10 million on a building.
Yeah.
It's fruitless. Why are we getting into these conversations? Why can't we just be happy? Oh wow, look, they got a $10 million building. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that evangelist got a jet to go fly around the world and preach the gospel. Yeah. Come on, guys. Don't fall into the trap of the devil. No. Don't fall into that stuff.
You're really cutting your own self off from a blessing.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Absolutely. That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
You're letting the devil cut you off from a blessing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sow into good ground.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are we on 12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
If others share in this, this is amplified. If others share in this rightful claim upon you, do not we have a still better and greater claim? However, we've never exercised this right, but we endure everything rather than put a hindrance in the way of the spread of the good news, the gospel of Christ.
That's what a pastor does.
That's what a pastor does.
That's what a pastor does, regardless.
You know what?
Why?
We're not going to hinder.
Because this is a calling.
If we have to
this
keep
is not
working,
a job. Yeah. This is something that God has put.
That's it.
Put on us to do.
And that we're just going to keep doing it, regardless. Now.
You know what? Hey, one day, you never know. The guy that's watching right now could be the very one to say, "Look, God is telling me to give that church, $3 million."
And then the big campus, and we get the school of deliverance, and we can reach more people and
do the things, help
the families, help the. Oh my goodness, we could do so much for the kingdom. But again, a lot of that ain't going into line pockets now, is it? Oh, wait a minute. It's going right back to people. It's still going into why? Because that's what a pastor does.
That's right.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, we were talking about something like that this morning because we were going over our budget, our church budget. We were looking at different things, and it's interesting that we're coming into the holidays. This is a time of year where you have a lot of outgo.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where we're saying, okay, you know what, we're joining hands together. We're praying, saying, okay, God, this is what we want to do. Yeah. Thank you for providing for us. We're talking about doing the shoe boxes this year. Yeah. Normally we do angel tree, but I think this year we're going to do the shoe boxes. We're going to
mail those off.
Our children have been given a children's church, and we're going to take that money and put it on the shoe boxes for the Samaritan's Purse. We're looking forward to doing different things. Usually we give presents and things like that to different families in the community.
That's right.
There's
things.
Work that happens.
It's a work that happens. And I can't tell you, how many times that something comes up and, we need to give to that, some of our church family says, hey, I've got this need. Yeah.
Okay, what do we do? Let's go meet the need.
If we can do it, we meet the need. It's what we do.
Let's meet the need. Let's see where we can go with this.
Plain and simple. Yeah.
It's not always possible.
We do what we can.
We don't just throw into any bucket either. No.
Anybody can get a bucket.
Anybody can get a bucket.
Anybody can get a bucket. Okay. Do you not know that those men who are employed in the services of the temple get their food from the temple?
Wow.
Let that one sink in. You ain't never stopped taking them sacrifices to the temple in all your years. You didn't complain about that.
I remember your dad coming back from Guatemala, and he was talking about one of the most successful churches down there.
Yeah.
Guatemala, they don't have a dollar bill to put in an offering plate. They have chickens and goats. And,
I know. Yeah. I know you want to tell the story, but I'm halfway through the verse. Let me just go ahead and that way it's a point. Okay. And that those who tend the altar share with the altar in the offerings brought. Okay.
So
Guatemala.
So Guatemala, these people don't just have a dollar bill to put in an offering plate for tithing and offering. So they bring their goats, they bring their chickens, they bring their fruit, their eggs, their coffee beans, things like that.
If they make jewelry or whatever,
and the pastor's got a store
right beside the church,
and they sell the items that the people bring, and that money goes to support the church, supports the pastor.
Exactly. I mean, obviously,
most successful church
in Guatemala.
Why? Because they're giving.
Because they're giving.
Come on.
They give them what they got.
I'm sorry if I hurt your ears with that clap.
Good job, babe. Good job.
All right, where are we at?
We're on 14.
Yeah.
Yep. You want to read it or you want me to?
So also the Lord directed those who proclaim the gospel to get their living from the gospel. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go. That's how God has it set up.
Mm.
That's how God has it set up.
All things in time, right, Lord?
That's
Hallelujah.
Right. You know, and here's the deal: our church is growing. It's on to grow.
Yeah.
And should the Lord tarry and it gets to the point, you know what? We're going to do things the way that God has set them out to be done. Why? Because I don't want to shortchange anybody in our church.
That's right.
I want them to be as blessed as they can be.
See,
you know?
Verse 16. For if I preach the gospel, I have nothing to boast of, for I am under compulsion. For woe is me if I do not preach the gospel.
What?
That's verse 16.
You didn't read 15?
I didn't.
No.
I thought I read 15. I'm sorry.
No.
Let me go back. It says, but I have used none of these things. Yeah. And I am not writing these things so that it will be done so in my case.
Yeah.
For it would be better for me to die than have any man make my boast an empty one.
Uh-huh.
Don't just give because we're sitting there talking about it. You listen to what the Lord's telling you to do.
Exactly.
You be obedient to God.
Yeah.
For if I preach the gospel,
yep,
I have nothing to boast of.
If I merely preach the gospel.
If I merely preach the gospel.
Amplified says. Yeah. Okay.
For I am under compulsion, for woe is me if I do not preach the gospel. Like I told y'all, this is not a job.
It's not a job.
This is a calling.
It's calling.
I never forget back when I was a backslidden sinner, and I was talking to my girlfriend at the time, and I was sitting there, and we were just walking around talking. And,
not I.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I got on the subject of church. Now, we had not been to church. I was not going to church. I was as far away from God as I was lost as a goose, but I had enough church in me that and I started talking to her about God, and I started talking to her about church, and she just sat there at wide-eyed, looking at me and listening. She said, I've never heard you talk about anything like that before. And that, now I knew I'd been called since I was a little boy. And so I felt ashamed at that time because I knew what I was running from.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't end well.
Doesn't end well when you're, and I thank God that He gave me an opportunity to make it right and do, to repent.
And here we go.
And then I met you, baby.
Come on.
Oh, thank you, Lord.
In all fairness, you invited yourself.
I did invite myself to your church.
Okay. I was just doing my little drama ministry. That's what I do on Tuesdays. I'm not available then. Can I come?
I'd spent a whole year. I'd spent a whole year away from the bars and the nightclubs and by myself. I was like, I'm going to go to a church on Tuesday night and watch you do drama. Like, let's go. Yeah,
Okay.
All right. Where are we at?
17.
All right. For if I do this voluntarily.
Here's the kicker. Because see, listen, God will always take care of His own. Yeah. Okay. Don't think that if a congregation ain't willing to or able to take care of their pastor, because I want to say not able as well.
God will put it on somebody.
God will take care of his or her, his man or woman. Okay.
Says, don't worry about it. For if I do this voluntarily, I have a reward.
Yep.
But if against my will, I have a stewardship entrusted to me.
Ow, we don't want to do that.
Let me tell you something. I'd rather do it willingly any day. It's wonderful. You know what? It's rejuvenating. Every time I get off work, y'all, I may be tired. I may have gone through it. My mind may be, but I get up there. I grab my guitar. I get the music going, the praise and worship going, and
it's great.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's great.
I start up there and God starts preaching. Man, it's good. Yes. It's good stuff. Yeah. This is good. Tonight before we started this, I was tired.
Yep.
Yes, tonight we're recording this for tomorrow.
Orthodontist appointment.
Yeah. But
anyway.
we're on here and look, we're after 30 minutes. We're still going.
We're still going.
And it's so exciting. This is so much good stuff here.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
I'll let you read.
We're on 18. What then is the actual reward that I get if I'm, compelled into this? If I'm doing it against my will, what am I actually getting? Just this, that in my preaching the good news, the gospel, I may offer it absolutely free of expense to anybody, not taking advantage of my rights and privileges as a preacher of the gospel. This is my reward. Hey, look, I'm just doing it.
I'm just doing it.
I'm just doing it. That's the heart of a preacher right there. That's the heart of a pastor, an apostle, anybody that's called into that fivefold ministry. It doesn't matter the reward. It doesn't matter what I get out of it. I'm just doing what I know God's told me to do. Yeah. And that in and of itself is reward. Mm-hmm. Don't twist that. Don't twist that. Okay? I'm just to leave that there. Don't twist that.
Don't twist it.
Don't twist that. Don't use that as a area of abuse. All right. Okay? Don't twist that.
Where are we at?
19.
For though I am free from all men, I have made myself a slave to all, so that I may win more.
Yeah. The slave of the church.
To the Jews, I became as a Jew, so that I might win Jews. To those who are under the law, as under the law, though not being myself under the law, so that I might win those who are under the law. Yeah. To those who are without law, as without law, though not being without the law of God, but under the law of Christ, so that I might win those who are without law.
Yeah. So, hey, you know what?
All things to all people.
Things to all people.
You know, there are people, y'all, there are all kinds of churches out there. You know what? There are Barker. We went to Barker Church in Savannah.
Yeah.
Man, Robbie Goodman's got a thing going on over there, and he's ministering to people that you know what, they would look at me and go, man, that guy's a square. Yeah. You know, and they wouldn't listen to me. They probably wouldn't hear me. Yeah. But you know what, man, they'll hear him.
That's right.
They'll listen to him.
That's what
he's ministering. He's ministering. He's doing a good work over there.
This is why within a church in the Bible, within the New Testament, there was a plurality of leadership. Yeah. There were multiple pastors within one church working together for the whole body.
Absolutely.
And I love that because, you know, you're an ordained evangelist. We have a lay minister, Brother Andy. My mom was married to a pastor, and by default, that puts you in ministry. She is very much a pastor in her own right in that capacity. And I think it's so interesting because there are times when you kind of push the better odd pastor forward, you know, like, okay, well, I think maybe you have a better chance of delivering this message, or maybe there's a way you can put it that can be received more in whatever capacity. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. The point is what is needed, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a bunch of men out on a construction site or whatever doing those kinds of things, you know, me showing up in a poodle skirt is not going to really work.
Nope.
You know, I mean, you got to understand these things.
You do what God's called you to do. That's
right.
The bottom line.
That's it.
Verse 22, to the weak became I as weak,
ooh,
that I might gain the weak.
Okay.
I have made all things to all men,
now,
that I might be by all means save some.
Okay. Amplified has a whole lot of words here.
Okay, go through them.
To the weak, wanting in discernment, the ones who lack discernment.
Ooh.
I have become weak or lacking discernment, that I might win the weak and over scrupulous.
Over scrupulous? Ooh, wow. Okay.
You want me to make things a little simple? I can make them simple.
Okay.
You know? I have, in short, become all things to all men, that I might by all means, at all cost, and in any and every way, save some by winning them to faith in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Any and every way. Look, I change my bait. I'm a fisherman. It's what I do. You don't want to bite on a green jelly worm? Okay.
We'll put that top floating pug or that buzz bait on there. We'll get you. Don't worry. We got you, boo.
You want some shrimp? Let's do it. Okay. Let's go fishing.
And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you.
Yeah.
Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receives the prize? So run that ye may obtain.
Only one receives that prize. Hey, winning that trophy. If you listen to Wednesday night's message,
come on.
Win that trophy.
Win that trophy. Go for it.
And again, guys, this goes back to perfection.
Yeah.
It does.
Absolutely.
What? Perfecting your love.
Yeah.
Perfecting your faith.
Yeah.
perfecting your obedience.
Absolutely, yeah.
Those 3 areas. You get, and if you get the love thing right, you got like 90% of it down.
That's the greatest.
Because if you get the love thing right, you're going to get the obedience right. Simple, simple, simple. And then it's just working your faith muscle.
Absolutely.
Not that bad.
Let's see. And every man, verse 25, right? Yep. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible.
Oh.
I therefore so run not as uncertainly. So fight I not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it unto subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
I want to go amplified on all this.
All right.
Because amplified is really, really good. Okay.
Go for it.
Now, every athlete who goes into training conducts himself temperately and restricts himself in all things.
Yeah.
They do it to win a wreath that will soon wither, but we do it to receive a crown of eternal blessedness that cannot wither.
Yeah.
Therefore, I do not run uncertainly without definite aim. I do not box like one beating the air and striking without an adversary. But like a boxer, I buffet my body. I handle it roughly, discipline it by hardships, and subdue it, for fear that after proclaiming to others the gospel and things pertaining to it, I myself should become unfit, not stand the test, be unapproved, and rejected as a counterfeit.
Oh, wow.
I put myself more to the test than anything I put y'all through. That's what Paul was telling them.
That's the hardest thing, man. Because God will be dealing with us about something going on. And, you know, what we do with it, the first thing we do is we examine ourselves.
Do I need to do better? Do I have to do better? Do I have to up it?
You know, God's putting this out there. He's showing us something going on with somebody.
Yeah.
Am I doing wrong here? Am I doing this right? Am I handling this? Wow. Why? Because you get the beam out of your eye first.
That's right.
And then you go get the speck out your brothers.
That's it. That's what you do.
It's not you don't leave the speck in their eye, guys.
No, you don't.
But you put yourself under subjection.
First. That's right. We're not hypocrites.
You got to be qualified. You got to go.
Don't be a counterfeit.
Don't be a counterfeit. You know, a lot of times in church, Mindy, I'll talk about the failures that I've had.
Yeah.
And so that our congregation, so that the people in our church will hopefully be able to say, you know what, Matt did that. You know, I've been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't work good for him.
It ain't going to work good for me.
Maybe I could learn from his failure. And do better.
Absolutely.
You know, because like a lot of times when I'll say I was doing it this way, it didn't work good. It flopped. And when I repented and I did what was right, hey, success came.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Guys, hey, it's been
real.
1 Corinthians chapter 9, man. Whew, Paul was shucking the corn.
Yep.
Hey guys, we love you.
God
loves you, and there's not a thing you can do about it. Y'all have a great